What's up YouTube, and welcome to episode 98 of the Chaos Daily. Let's get into it. So, do you ever have one of those ever have one of those moments where you're working on a project and you're trying to solve a problem in the project, and the best solution you can come up with is, I can't solve this problem right now, I don't have enough data, so I will leave it till further in the project where I have more data available, and then I can solve the problem. Well, I did something like that, and it was to do with the CG. So from the CFD simulations I've done, I know where the lift characteristics of the aircraft are. I know how it's going to perform at certain speeds aerodynamically. What I couldn't do was work out where the CG would be. I could get a rough estimate based on the CAD information on the CG of the airframe itself, but trying to get the weight characteristics of the battery, the motor, and all the components, and how that'll all combine, and then the actual real world weight of the aircraft that was slightly different to what I had in CAD. And there was no way for me to digitally determine where the CG is. So what I said to myself in the past was, okay, what I can do is I can try and get it to as close to where it needs to be, and then I can just adjust the length of the tail, the carbon fiber tail boom, and by shortening the tail, I can bring the CG forward or back, and that would be it. So yeah, we got to the stage in the plane, and I started building it, and I got really excited, and I glued the tail in place, and then I looked at the CG, and I was like, that CG is way too far back. It's sitting somewhere around here, and it's supposed to be somewhere around here. So I've got to bring it forward by about 70 mils. Now, I can do that by either putting more weight in the front, but it's already heavier than I wanted, so that's not an option. And my other option, which was to shorten the tail, bringing the weight of the tail forward, which would bring that CG forward, I forgot to do. So I have to reprint the tail because I can't get this off. Super glue and this resin, they like to make friends really good. So, bit of a delay, but it can't fly like this. It's way too tail heavy. There is no way it will fly with the CG all the way back there. Yeah. That's just not going to happen. So I'm going to reprint the tail. Not a big deal. All I have to do is reprint these two sections and the core. I can reuse the ruddervators. Having a shorter tail also gives me the advantage that the aircraft will weigh less overall anyways. It'll also reduce the length that these control rods have to function at, which will increase their performance. They're a little bit bindy at the moment. I was going to put some silicone grease down the tail to help that out a bit. But yeah, so for those of you that was excited for the maiden flight, because I was, it's going to wait a little bit longer. I'm going to get to work reprinting the tail and cutting the tail and getting it shorter and and I will remember to not glue the tail on until after I've figured out where the CG is. Where it needs to be here, it's currently here, and if I chop the tail a bit shorter, I can bring it forward and I don't have to add an extra weight. So yeah, we'll leave it there for today's episode. Oh yeah, by the way, the Resin Engineer badge. Let me know if you guys like them. I just made that. It's got like a magnet thing. So yeah, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe. Go check out my other channel if you want. And as always, I've been Chaos, and until next time, expect the unexpected, and I will see you guys later.
And a special thank you to all my patrons that help support the channel. If you would also like to support the channel, there's a link in the description.